What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another college college football talk. We're covering week 9 and week 10. Week 9 was somewhat eventful. Not a whole lot was going on though. As conference play marches on, some of the bigger games are harder to come by unless you go into like the SEC and Big Ten. So that being said, we'll try to get through these real quick. We have the Cards. We have Trey Hendrickson, which we'll talk about them later. He's actually, I guess, wanting a trade. We're getting out of Cincinnati. Patrick Surtain, representing the Broncos. They're 6-2. Myles Garrett had 5 sacks yesterday. Filming this on Monday. He'll probably come out Monday. Had 5 sacks yesterday and a loss. Right? Oh, excuse me. Oh, I mean, they still lost. But anyway. And then Drake May for the actually pretty darn good Patriots. He's actually playing really good. And of course, Bucky the Badger, who's ready to cover his eyeballs on this season because oh man, we suck. But I'm not going to talk about that too long. So we're going to go over the week 9 games and then we'll get into week 10 and all that. So again, as always, we'll try to just cut through most of it and go through the games we got wrong. Get the Western Kentucky Louisiana Tech game wrong by 1 point. 28-27 in overtime. Western Kentucky wins. Missouri State beat New Mexico State 24-17 in overtime. Couldn't get more unlucky than that. And then Friday, we knocked them all out 3-0. Virginia Tech came through and got me a win there. All right. Got some headlines. Western Kentucky got the 2-point conversion in overtime to clinch bowl eligibility 28-27 in overtime versus Louisiana Tech. Missouri State takes down New Mexico State in overtime 24-17. South Alabama picks off Georgia State to seal the deal 38-31. Georgia State is now not eligible. They are 1-7. Of course, you have to have 6 wins or more to be bowl eligible. And so, obviously, with 8 games being gone, they only have 1 win. Drew Mestamaker throws 608 yards. Yes, 608 yards in a win versus Charlotte, 54-20. School and conference record for North Texas. Crazy. Just 608 yards. Oh man, that's just crazy. And then Virginia Tech takes down Cal in double overtime, 42-34. Like I said, Virginia Tech coming through for me. And then Saturday, there were 45 games. I included some of the big game scores on the back. That way, if you were looking for those and haven't been covering them, well, we got them now. We went 34-11 on Saturday. We got the Memphis-South Florida game wrong, 31-24. Memphis is now ranked for that. Wake Forest beat SMU 13-12. The offensive struggles continue, but defense held strong. Kansas State, like I said, they're so confusing. They win the games they probably shouldn't win, and then they lose the games that they should win. 42-17. Kent State beat Bowling Green 24-21. How about Kent State, everybody? They're 3-5. They're only 3 wins away from a bowl game, if they even get there. But we can root them on until then. Akron beat Buffalo 24-16. Rice beat UConn 37-34. New Mexico beat Utah State 33-14. Vanderbilt beat Missouri 17-10. I mean, what about Vanderbilt, everybody? Although next year they won't have Pavia, so we'll see how they do next year. Washington beat Illini 42-25. I mean, I'm going to have to start picking Washington now. I mean, they keep proving me wrong most of the time. Northern Illinois beat Ball State 21-7. Texas beat Mississippi State 45-38 in overtime. And then that was it. So he shall go to the back. Like I said, not a whole lot going on. That's why I put some of the big game scores. Ole Miss had 9 fourth-quarter points to beat Oklahoma 34-26. Virginia stops UNC North Carolina 2-point attempt in overtime to win 17-6. He was literally about a foot from the goal line, if that. and they stopped them. Memphis had 17 fourth quarter points to upset USF 34-31. Nebraska got a game-winning drive to beat Northwestern 28-21. I think there's about 2 minutes left. Rutgers with a walk-off field goal versus Purdue to win 27-24. Wake Forest with a walk-off field goal versus SMU to win 13-12. Kent State fourth quarter touchdown versus Bowling Green to win 24-21. Auburn had 17 fourth quarter points to beat Arkansas 33-24. Indiana dominates UCLA, improves to 8-0, 56-6. Alabama had 15 fourth quarter points to beat South Carolina 29-22. BYU, more fourth quarter magic, 14 fourth quarter points to beat Iowa State 41-27. They were tied at 27 going in the fourth quarter. Washington takes down the Fighting Illini 42-25. Rice takes down UConn in double overtime 37-34. Temple wins versus Tulsa 38-37 in overtime. And then Texas 24 fourth quarter points to survive Mississippi State 45-38. In your big game scores, Texas A&M versus LSU. Texas A&M won 49-25. Ole Miss beat Oklahoma 34-26. Alabama beat South Carolina 29-22 on the road. Vandy beat Mizzou 17-10. BYU beat Iowa State 41-27. Memphis beat South Florida 34-31. Texas beat Mississippi State 45-38. Washington beat Illinois 42-25. Houston beat Arizona State 24-16. And then Michigan beat Michigan State 31-20. We went in grand total of 40-13, which honestly, if you think about it, it's not terrible, but 13, well, we got wrong out of all those. It's not great, 75%. And then that puts us at 391 and 117 through week 9. That is 76.9%. Your bowl eligible teams, big long list of them. Again, I won't run through the records. I'll just run through your schools. And if you hear your school, well, there you go. Western Kentucky, Boise State, Nebraska, Washington, Iowa, Pittsburgh, San Diego State, Southern Miss, Texas, TCU, Miami, Troy, Tennessee, Louisville, and Michigan are your bowl eligible schools that were added. No undefeated teams lost this week. I think we only have a couple more left out there, maybe, if that. Week 10. Here we are, Week 10 AP poll. Only one shift. That was, at least 5. Oklahoma was 13. They dropped to 18. Your new schools. New kids on the block. Memphis is 25. Utah 24. USC 23. And Houston 22. Usually from 22 to 25. They usually just throw in whoever at that point. Your schools who got dropped out. Arizona State was 24. Illini was 23. LSU was 20. And South Florida was 18. Now, we are at the point of the season where I can start doing this. Teams who should be ranked. Washington. They are 6-2. Their only losses are to Michigan and Ohio State. 2 ranked teams, by the way. Their wins were Colorado State, UC Davis, which aren't the best, but you're still winning. Washington State, Maryland, Rutgers, and Illini. So, I think if they win again next week, they'll most likely be ranked. I don't know why they wouldn't be. Navy, you can make an argument about. They're 7-0. They beat Virginia Military Institute, UAB, Tulsa, Rice, Air Force, Temple, and FAU. Again, not a strong schedule. That's probably why they aren't ranked yet. Maybe if they get 8-0, 9-0, they probably will be. But until then, we'll have to wait. Iowa 6-2. I saw a lot of comments wanting them to be ranked. Their wins or versus Minnesota, Penn State, Rutgers, UMass, Albany, and Wisconsin, and their 2 losses are Iowa State and Indiana. So, you can make a argument for any of those schools. Honestly, I think Navy has the worst case there, but they can't really help their conference. Week 10 headlines. We still have 2 winless teams, everybody, and I don't think they're going to win this week either. But UMass is still winless. They play Akron and then Sam Houston will play Louisiana Tech. So we'll see how those do. We have some good games coming up. Number 9, Vandy versus number 20, Texas. Army versus Air Force. Again, when you have those military branches going at it, usually good games. Navy 7-0 versus 7-1 North Texas. We'll see. That might be Navy's first loss. Number 5, Georgia in the swamp at Florida. 18, Oklahoma at 14, Tennessee. 23, USC at Nebraska. 17, Cincinnati versus 24, Utah. And then LSU, we have a firing coach, or coach firing, excuse me. LSU fires Brian Kelly, head coach, after a 5-3 start this year, but 29-11 overall. So we'll see where Brian Kelly goes next. I'm sure somebody will want him. Maybe UCLA or Penn State. We'll see. All right, Week 10 picks. We got Tuesday. I did not mess it up this time. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then, of course, Saturday. Tuesday, we're going to take Kennesaw State at home versus UTEP, and then we're going to take James Madison, who's 6-1, beat Texas State on the road. Wednesday, we're going to take Jack State versus Middle Tennessee, and then we're going to take Missouri State to beat Florida International. Thursday, we're going to take Marshall on the road versus Coastal. I think Coastal was predicted to win, but who cares? And then we're going to take Tulane over a should-be win versus UTSA. And then Friday, Memphis at Rice. It'll be a challenge for them, but I think Memphis can pull through. We're going to take Syracuse, the Orange, in the Dome versus North Carolina. And then we're going to take Louisiana Tech to beat Sam Houston, the winless team. One of only just 2. And then Saturday, we have 43 games. And I was proud of myself this time. We don't have, big stretches of home or away teams I picked, although that'll probably mess me up in the end. We're going to take Ohio State at home versus Penn State. We're going to take Vanderbilt on the road versus Texas. Texas had like 3 or 4 straight road games. They kept saying they've been on the road for 41 days. But I think Vandy's going to go in and take care of business. We're going to take Miami versus SMU. We're going to take Houston, the Cougars, to beat West Virginia. Illini hopefully can pick up a win versus Rutgers. Illini is good, but their schedule was not really kind to them in any means. Duke versus Clemson. Clemson was predicted to win, but, why not? Duke's had a pretty good history beating up on Clemson. So we're going to take Baylor versus UCF. We're going to take Iowa State versus Arizona State. Hopefully UConn can win versus UAB. Help me out there. We're going to take Army in the Air Force Army game. I can't wait for the Army-Navy game. That'll be good. We're going to take North Texas to beat Navy. I think this will be Navy's first big team they played, and I think North Texas is just going to just wipe the floor with them. Bowling Green, I think, is going to pick up a win versus Buffalo at their home. We're going to take East Carolina versus Temple, and then we're going to take Louisville versus Virginia Tech. UNLV versus New Mexico, we're going to take UNLV, and we're going to take Indiana on the road at Maryland. Maryland can give them a run for the money, no doubt about it, but I think Indiana is going to keep rolling. We're going to take Georgia in the swamp versus Florida. We're going to take Notre Dame versus Boston College. Boston College, everybody. They used to be so good, like dominant consistently in a bowl game, but this year not so much. Texas Tech, we're going to take them over Kansas State. Michigan State, I think, is going to lose to Minnesota. We're going to take Pitt over Stanford. We're going to take Liberty versus the newcomers of Delaware. I think Liberty's bouncing back. We're going to take Western Kentucky versus New Mexico State. Boise State, in their blue field, I think he's going to take down Fresno State. We're going to take Old Dominion on the road versus UL Monroe. We're going to take South Alabama versus the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana. Hopefully Virginia can help me out and get a win versus Cal. Somebody said Virginia is the most overrated ranked team this year, which, well, I honestly was surprised to see them in there. But, I guess they know something. I haven't been really paying attention to Virginia. I might have to go look at them now, but Arkansas hopefully pick up a win versus Mississippi State. And then Kansas at home versus Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is struggling this year. We're going to take Kansas. We're going to take Central Michigan to beat West Michigan, in-state rivalry there. We're going to take Ole Miss at home versus South Carolina. We're going to take Michigan at home versus Purdue. We're going to take Arizona versus Colorado. Colorado had their upset and their big win of the year. I think Arizona is going to go in and take care of business. We're going to take San Diego State beat Wyoming. We're going to take Georgia Tech to beat NC State. That could be a great game. Pay attention to that one. Georgia Tech looking to stay undefeated against the Wolfpack. Tennessee at home versus Oklahoma. We're going to take the Vols to win that. We're going to take USC, go on the road and beat Raiola and his Nebraska Cornhuskers. We're going to take Auburn to beat Kentucky. We're going to take Washington State to beat Oregon State. Not far from each other, but Oregon State's been struggling mightily this year. Florida State versus Wake Forest. We're going to take Florida State. Yeah, they've been struggling, but it's still Florida State. So hopefully they can take care of business. We're going to take Troy versus Arkansas State. We're going to take Cincinnati versus Utah. And then the last game of the day at 10:30, we're going to take Hawaii versus San Jose State. And real quick, we're going to talk about the NFL real quick. I haven't talked about them at all this season, but based on all the cards today being for the NFL, kind of have to, right? Colts with Daniel Jones and a new owner are 7-1, and she's been taking notes on the sideline. There's pictures all over social media of her with a notepad, and well, I guess it's working out. They're 7-1. Brought in Daniel Jones, which honestly, if you had told me last year when Tommy DeVito was starting that Daniel Jones would be 7-1 next year with the Colts, I'd probably laugh in your face and probably bet you money that it wouldn't happen. Should the tush push be banned? Now, I know there's been a lot of controversy, especially yesterday, because they missed a fumble. They've been missing false starts. Even after they said, we're going to monitor it closely and, penalize it roughly harsher than the others, they haven't. There's been videos of them slow motioning the videos, and they're still jumping. I mean, yesterday, Jalen Hurts just had the ball ripped out of his hands, and the ruled forward progress was stopped. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it should be banned. I just think the refs need to call it better because, it's getting pretty outrageous. So, will the Chiefs recover from injury plague start? They turn it around. I think they're 4-3. They're starting to get everybody back, so hopefully they can, do their thing. I don't like the Chiefs, but, it brings competitive football to the table, especially next week when they play the Bills. Former Jets center Nick Mangold passes away at age 41 from kidney disease, so we have lost another former NFL player. We lost Doug Martin last week, so thoughts and prayers to him and the Jets, or his family and the Jets, I should say. Myles Garrett gets 5 sacks versus Patriots, and they still lost. Aaron Rodgers lost to the Packers 35-25. Jets got their first win of the year versus the Bengals 39-38. And my poor Cowboys defense. Oh my. Our offense has been great. Defense, well, they're not so great. They just gave up 44 points to the Broncos. So, and then I did this real quick. Surprise teams. I put LD for leads division. Patriots are 6-2. Colts are 7-1, and your Broncos are 6-2. So, if you told me those 3 teams were going to have that record and be leading their divisions, I honestly would probably be surprised. Underwhelming. We got the Chiefs at 4-3, but that's just because they've been injured, and then your Commanders are 3-4. And I had to put this on there. AFC North combined 11-19. Not making that up. You can go on ESPN or go look up their their division. The leader in that division is the Steelers, and they are 4-3. So, hopefully, somebody in that division can turn things around and, well, make that division a little bit better. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, share. Again, in the comments, I'm open to talking football. If anybody has any questions, debate, I'm down. I don't care. As long as you're respectful and you're not just going to start cussing me out for not picking your team, I don't really care. So, till next time, guys. See ya, and have a great week.